welcome to the CMIP Theatre here at NAB Show 2022. We have an all-star panel with us today, meeting the demand for a content everywhere future. So to kick it off, I think we should get our panelists to introduce themselves, starting with Remy.
Hello everyone, hello fellows. So my name is Remy, I'm running corporate strategy and marketing in Atem, a global leader in video compression, CDN and streaming solutions.
Xavier.
Hello everyone, my name is Xavier. I run business development at Broadpeak and we specialize into video delivery over unicast, multicast, advertising and CDN selection.
And Matt.
And I'm Matt Hughes, CCO for End-to-End Media. We orchestrate the cloud for AWS services and distribution for AWS in the cloud.
And Ruben.
My name is Señor Mejías. I'm part of NPO, Nice People at Work, the leading video intelligence company, doing analytics for more than 180 customers.
Perfect. And Simon, last but not least.
Thank you, Will. My name is Simon Westbrook. I'm a SVP of Sales and Partnerships. I'm also one of the founders of Unified Streaming, which is a product company and a pioneer in helping companies to stream their video online since 2012.
Perfect. So let's kick it off with a very open question. We're talking about this notion of content everywhere. It's been a topic at events like this for the last 5 or 6 years. But let's start with you, Remy. If you had to look at where we are now in this content everywhere paradigm, what do you see as the current state of the market?
I think we are heading a kind of end of an era, meaning that we used to have content everywhere, but it's not enough now. We want to enjoy the content. We want to experience the content. So it's how we can bring an experience everywhere around the content that I see. And when I see everywhere, that's in the living room, you know, with a new experience around how you can interact with an immersive content, but that's also in stadium with 5G for in-venue experience.
And Javier, what do you see as the state of the market or the trends that are really keeping you awake at night?
Yeah, I think Remy is starting to talk about an era, and I think we're entering a new era, right? When we look at the content everywhere, we think about multi-screen delivery, ABR video everywhere, and we've seen basically some waves already, the VOD waves with Netflix and Disney Plus services. We solved those challenges already with the ISPs, and now we're entering the new phase of live content being delivered over ABR, and that brings a raft of challenges for the networks. It's going to be a very interesting, new era of collaboration with ISPs and OTT providers. So we are very optimistic about the future. There's going to be some really interesting conversations.
Okay. And Matt, I mean, content everywhere has just been a thing for forever. What have been the big challenges that we've overcome over the last decade to get where we are now? And where do you see maybe the future challenges emerging?
So I think the biggest challenge is moving people to the cloud. I think having the comfort in cloud, and that change has happened. And it's happening right now, and it's one of those things that we're seeing with our clients is most important, that they're getting comfortable with cloud. And now being able to perfect cloud is probably the top priority for those clients.
Ruben, we talk about an end of an era, a start of a new era. Where should we be thinking of as our future direction for content everywhere?
I think it's important. What we clearly see at the moment is a strong fragmentation of a lot of different OTT services, which need to find their place in the end consumer community. I think at the moment we see a lot of consolidations, but you see also the ramping down in terms of subscribers from Netflix. Yeah, so OTT consumption is ramping up. That's a trend, but I think content everywhere needs to be found based on accurate data. I think that's an important topic.
Yeah. Data is like the magic word now. You say the word data.
I love it. Every day I'm talking about data. Yeah.
Where's the future for content everywhere?
Yeah, I mean, I agree, of course, with all my colleagues here, but what we see as a technology company is that there's a lot of device fragmentation. And I remember the time when we signed up BBC as a client, they had this requirement list of supporting 900 different devices. That was in 2015. So now, if we look at the stage where we are now, we have done a lot with regard to standardization, consolidation of different formats, but it's still a nightmare to stream content to every device, the device that we want to reach.
Yeah. when I left the broadcast industry and went into telecoms, it was SDI 3G. And when I came back to broadcast, I thought, oh my God, I can't do SDI again. But everything was IP. Is IP now de facto? Is IP one? Are we just IP-centric as organizations, as broadcasters? Anyone who wants that thing, where are we now in the IP journey? Who wants that question then?
Yeah, I'll take that. So IP is here, right? And I think everything is moving to ABR. Going forward, we see transport stream being retired. All the content will be streamed going forward. Everything will be ABR, and that's because of revenues attached to ABR. The ability to do targeted advertising, I think, is the main driver to move away from the traditional TS, transport stream delivery, right? So going forward, it's going to be for us ABR everywhere, down to any technologies, even the satellite now. There is standardization going on to be able to do streaming of a satellite. So we think going forward is definitely going to be ABR over IP. Yeah.
When you speak to your customers, are you still even having the IP discussion, or is it now looking at the optimization map? Are your customers even thinking about should we go IP, or are they now into the next level?
For us, no. I mean, they're already on that journey for IP. So we're helping them manage that. So that's where the work. So there's a lot of education that goes along with that. So we're having to take a lot of our clients through an educational process. What are the other companies that they can work with that work in our environment? How do we expand that? So we work with many other companies that can also offer a better service to them. And it's a journey. So we're finding that it's a consultative sale more than anything. So a lot of consultation, a lot of help along the journey to make things work and make things work properly, because the worst thing that you want is to have something go belly up with the customer. It'd be horrible.
Is IP now a given? Can we do content everywhere without being IT native in both our workflow and our delivery? Remy, what's yours?
No, you can't. Clearly you can't, because you need to be able to migrate and to move your content, again, everywhere, not only to the customer side, but globally. We are facing global players.
Yeah.
To continue growing, they need to face a global audience. So they are moving their content all around the world. You have global players like Discovery, like Netflix, like the Disney, we mentioned it, okay? These guys, they need to be able to move content at scale quite easily. So, and the only reason to do that, the only vehicle to do that, is clearly IP.
Okay. So my background is as a journalist, and many years ago, maybe 10 years ago, we would sit in briefings and we'd play a game called Bingo. I don't know if this translates into American. And every time a vendor would say the word cloud, we'd go, bingo.
Buzzword bingo. Yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah.
You missed bullshit yesterday.
Oh, yes. Cloud is just one of those things. It's ubiquitous. It's everywhere. Have we reached peak cloud? Simon, is cloud just overused now? Is it even a differentiator anymore?
Well, I don't know. I mean, as a technology company, we see that for us it doesn't matter where it runs.
Okay.
But of course, because of all the benefits that are now aligned with cloud and related to cloud, our clients just want to have cloud or not. They just want to have a choice. So I would say, whatever you like to do, cloud is a choice. And maybe it's a good choice for you, depending on the situation you're in.
Okay. And we've seen some of the biggest OTT services become cloud dependent almost. What's your view? Is cloud a necessity for a true content everywhere strategy?
No, I think it's a mixed mode of on-prem and clouds. So it's something you can't transfer completely. The topic is that we're talking about IP and cloud, but let's talk about the people.
I agree.
Yeah, I think it's an important topic. So we are pushing new technologies within organizations which are not prepared to do the transition. So we're talking about IP, we're talking about cloud, but let's talk about the waterfall principle, ITIL, ETOM, going to SCARF, to an agile way of working. So we need to understand also from a technology provider, and this is what we see from a day-by-day perspective, people, organization using our data, that there's always somebody behind the technology, and they have a process. Yeah, and this transition is the most important topic to adopt all the technologies and the way of working. This is what we're missing, because it's the most important factor, people.
I agree.
Yeah?
I completely agree. I know you
And as Simon mentioned, it's all about choice. Yeah. It does not make sense to move everything to the cloud. It does not make sense to stay on-prem. It does not make sense to move everything to SaaS. But you want to have the ability that based on the service, based on the nature of you're in and out. You say, okay, this one I will move to SaaS and to cloud. This one will remain on-prem and CapEx. So that's about choice, and choice by the people at work.
It's quite a hard decision to make, though. I mean, the economics of cloud-based playout, for example, have shifted quite rapidly. Before it was a cost service. A number of providers are now offering playout, I use the phrase in quotes, for free. How, when you're talking to your customers, what advice are you giving them about planning for the future and maybe hedging those bets? It's not easy, is it, Matt?
Well, first off, nothing's for free. Let's start there. There's always a cost, and somebody's got to pay for it. So we wouldn't be sitting here today if that's the case. The main, I think for our clients to have the adoption, you've got to start somewhere. It's always got to start on-prem. Okay, you've got cameras, you've got encoders, you've got something that has to get everything to the cloud. That adoption is something that takes a while. So how much of that workflow are you going to put into the cloud? That's the key. Is it your entire workflow? Is it part of the workflow? Is it the management layer? Is it, what are the different parts of that workflow? Is it your software? How is that managed? That's the biggest decision for our customers. And how do we fit in? How do we fit in? How do we make that work for them?
I think we did a panel similar to this a few years back, and I had a different set of questions. And one of the questions was build or buy. And I remember that on that panel, there was actually a bit of a split amongst the panel, where some said, if you build, you can differentiate, but if you buy, it's more reliable. To each of you, I mean, where do you stand on the build or buy question?
Well,
And it's a hard question.
I'm not sure if I can answer that question because I'm biased.
Oh yeah, well, the panel I had last time might have been biased as well. But
I'm biased because I advise my clients constantly to build their own workflows, best of class products. So I'm, as unified streaming provider, I'm providing a product and it's just a very central place in that workflow, and we feel it's the best in class product, so that's what I'm evangelizing. Yeah.
I think it's important, especially if I'm talking from a data point of view. If you buy products, if you buy setups, you need to match and you need to get the best out of it, to make business decisions and stuff like that. So many vendors are selling components which are not giving you the accurate data to be matched and to be monitored. I think that's an important topic. Before you start to define workflows, start to define your strategy and what you would like to achieve. But this strategy needs to be also matched. And then we talk again about people. So it's always the same.
But I'm being a bit unfair by making it as simple as build and buy, because it's quite a complex question. But it is a question that I'm assuming that you are having with customers.
Yeah, and it's specialization. Is the question of whether build or buy. Okay, do you have the specialization within your organization to build, or do you have to farm it out to someone else to buy that? That's the specialization that you get from companies that are willing, that have that offer for their clients. It is something that you pay for, but there's key people within the organization that specialize in that and have the knowledge, and that's what you're paying for when you have that buy.
And we are seeing in certain sectors it's clearly a buy play. I mean, I'm looking at you, Xavier. I mean, we are seeing certain areas of our sector, in the content everywhere sense, become almost de rigueur. CDN is almost de rigueur. Are you having conversations with anybody that's into that granular, should we build our own? Do we have to have multi-vendor? What's your view on the build-buy question?
Yeah, it's an old question, right? This is something we've seen for many years in the industry. I think what is really important is when you buy, you want to have the option to buy modules, right? You don't want necessarily to buy a complete solution, but you want to be able to buy modules. And I think when you look across the industry, there's a lot of options now to make your own solution, picking out the best modules. And for us at Broadpeak, this is exactly the direction. You may want to take only a part of the solution to build a broader proposition, but you have the flexibility. So it's mixing and finding the innovation, finding the real value out of different modules that are on offer, basically.
Okay.
I think that first the customer should look at the core expertise and the business value proposition that this customer can bring. So for instance, imagine that you are a Tesla driver. Your business value is to find the best route and the fastest route. You don't need to build the Tesla. So you will buy the Tesla and then your value will be about the route, okay? Yeah. So first, identify where your core expertise and your value proposition will be, and then this one you buy, and this one you build. Secondly, for me, it's going beyond the module, if I may. It's a fastest market, fast space market, okay? We don't know where we will be in 5 years. We are hearing about buzzwords like blockchain, cryptocurrencies.
Don't say metaverse. Do not say metaverse.
Gaming. I did not say metaverse, okay?
Christ.
So you don't know. When you are a customer, some of our customers, they say, I don't know where I will be in 5 years, okay? So I need to rely not on product modules or solutions. I need to rely on a company I can trust for this part.
Yeah.
And this company, I trust that they will evolve with me. 3 years from now, I don't know what I will deploy, but this company, I trust them.
So you agree? Ruben said people. It's people again.
That's the case, yeah. But I agree, modularity is key, yeah. Because in the past, when we talked to customers, they talked about visions of 5 years. Today in 5 years, I don't. So there is only a strategy for 6 months, for 1 year. Yeah, a long-term strategy needs to be adopted according to your needs from a daily business perspective. So if we talk about a bingo, metaverse, or whatever, yeah, I think. No, sorry for that. No, you need to change according to your needs. Yeah, and the modularity is key. Yeah.
So I'm going to just, again, a slight tangent of a question, but an area that I'm really interested in is this notion of the alignment between the broadcast industry, the content industry, and the telcos and the ISPs of this world. Are we now having to involve the ISPs and telcos in the story of content everywhere? Is it still just a technology play, or are yourselves, as technology companies, your customers, having to become more integrated, edge delivery being a great example, with the carriers and the telcos? I'm curious what your viewpoints are. Hot potato, who would like that hot potato? Take that potato.
I'll take the potato. So when we think about it, right, video delivery requires an infrastructure, right? That's why the telcos have been successful. That's why they've been, building triple play services over the last 15, 20 years now. And what we've seen with the OTT world is basically they also need an infrastructure to deliver the video. If you take Netflix and they open connect distribution, it's about 15 to 20,000 servers deployed globally, right? So this proves that you need an infrastructure close to your customers to deliver at scale, right? This is the proof, right? And what is really interesting now is seeing competitors of Netflix, or likes of Disney, for example, looking at the same problem. So Netflix took 10 years to deploy their own CDN. They're looking at it, and the question is how can I deliver my content at scale with some of the global CDN, but also with my own infrastructure, right? And this is where initiatives like Open Caching at the Streaming Video Alliance is very powerful, right? It's about opening those CDNs, opening those assets that are locked into the telco world to the OTT providers. So 100% going forward, we're gonna need more collaboration between the OTT and the ISPs to be able to deliver the quality that customers are expecting.
And are we going to need to have more collaboration between vendors? Because the stack, if you think back 10 years ago, the broadcast stack was, you could pick 6 vendors in NAB shown. They could do the entire broadcast stack, nuts to bolts. Now, you guys are going to be partners, enemies, frenemies.
Frenemies, yeah.
In many ways. Do we as an industry need to cooperate more and work closer together?
Yeah, this is what we're doing from a data perspective. So it's key for us. Yeah, each customer from us is having dedicated child accounts where they can involve their CDN provider, their player provider, to see the data and to manage from a day-by-day perspective is extremely important because you change the operational excellence model. So you're not writing tickets in boring ticketing systems. You can on real time see what is happening. So collaboration is key. Yeah, technology is becoming more complex. Yeah, AI, ML models are coming on top. It was a bingo again.
Yeah,
so
data.
Sorry for that.
Say first party.
No, but
say
I think
first party. Get points for saying first party data.
I need a beer. No, but it's key. Collaboration is key, and also collaboration between vendors is also key. But at the end, you're talking from a CDN and from a compression perspective. Yeah, I think I would like to see also the collaboration from an end device perspective. From an end device perspective, that we have a standardization process to make things much easier, because this is driving the complexity. I would love to see Apple talking to Samsung. It's a wishful thinking. Maybe you can remove it. But I think it's key. This is key.
Simon, what's your view?
Yeah, I mean, using the people analogy, collaboration is good, is vital. But again, as a technology company, we feel that we should rely more on standards and specifications and how to implement them and how to support them. Because in the end, not doing that will affect the client, will affect you as a company, and it will affect us as an industry for not being able to implement the standard and collaborate as a real industry. That is how I see it. Standards.
Is it getting better?
So yes, because this is where we are the frenemies. The friend part is about the standardization. We are all members of various standards, DVB Alliance, Streaming Video Alliance, where we collaborate to the same goal. And then on the sales side, we become enemy. But first, we start being friends and say, okay, we set the ground. This is how we will help the industry from that matter.
Okay. Now, because none of you are telcos, well, most of you are not really telcos, I want to talk about 5G. Now, it's just one of those buzzwords, and I've been writing about 5G for as many years before it was even 5G. Does it move the needle, Matt? Does it change content delivery significantly enough that it has to be on all of our radars?
I think on our radar is more on the contribution side for 5G, and that's taken a we've been asked for how we would integrate with 5G contribution for things like with AWS wavelength and those types of products that are on the market. So 5G is very important to us and for our clients as well, to make sure that they can get the contribution into the cloud using 5G as well.
Where are we on the cycle in terms of its practical use by the majority of whether broadcasters, content producers, where are we? What's the state of 5G as an industry utilization? I'll throw it at you, there's a hard question.
Yeah, no, it's just beginning. When we look at it, we are talking about trials of 5G. So I'm not talking about contribution to the cloud, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Talking, for instance, on the other side, for instance, contribution in 5G in the stadium for the in-venue experience that I mentioned at the beginning. I think this is crucial because, again, put in context, we are talking about a multi-billion industry. We are talking about the sports industry. Some sports, like Real Madrid, they have multi-million, hundreds of millions of tickets each year. If the fans, they don't go to the stadium, they lose money. So the 5G will be a way for them to provide another experience in the venue with 5G when you can see various angles and so on. So that will be crucial for this multi-billion industry.
Xavier, are you having discussions where 5G is part of that strategy moving forward?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think 5G, people talk about contribution, but 5G is here, right? 5G is here for delivery as well. We've been trialing 5G, you mentioned AWS wavelength. It is super interesting, right? It's the ability, the network is open with 5G, so we have the ability to go and deploy caches very close to the end user for better quality of experience. This is changing the game, right? With 3G, 4G, you basically had a tunnel all the way to the network, the core of the network. With 5G, this goes away. It's an open network, right? So you can go and cache content very close to the end user. And if you look at the applications, the main, people talk about killer application, another buzzword, right? One of the application out of 5G that is working today is fixed wireless access.
Yeah.
People talk a lot about replacing the fiber or the copper access with 5G, right? With 5G radio networks. And that creates some really interesting challenges in the quality of experience, because you're basically connecting a TV, your living room TV, to a mobile network. And on your phone, you may be okay with a little bit of buffering or low quality, but when it's on your main screen, that's a problem, right? So we see a lot of interest for building CDN into those networks. The large carriers basically replacing some of the access with 5G creates a lot of opportunities for better quality of experience again.
Ruben, I saw you smile. I saw you smile.
If you talk to the audience here, I don't know how many football matches you watched over 5G. Yeah, I think that's an important. The industry is still defining the use cases for 5G. Yeah, but what you clearly see, capacity management for 5G is still not existing. So it's like putting a melon on a stick. Yeah, in terms of capacity, and 5G of course has a lot of potential. Yeah, but even 4G was not completely used as such. So it would be great to define a real strategy to use 5G. You can use that as an example for contribution by having channel bundling, for the production of a football match or something like that. But
completely agree. I remember when I first saw, and I think it was LiveView or somebody similar, and they gave me this 4G bonding demo, and you just thought, it works, you know?
Exactly.
And 5G, I know we are still early in the evolution, but there's going to be this moment where you're going to have a customer who says, well, we want to do this event, we want to do it like this, with a load of REMI type, remote type stuff, and you're going to turn around and say, well, just do it with 5G, because at this location, whether it's Paris, Berlin, Rome, it's got full coverage, very low utilization, and it works. When is that point? When is that point when 5G, in your view, it's a guess, becomes like, wow, it just works?
Yeah, I think it's a bit question a little bit above my pay grade,
Yeah.
but nevertheless,
Thank you.
nevertheless, I agree with Xavier. Is that what we see is that with a higher personalization and targeting of people and making content more unique to people, it's evident that you cannot have all that unique content in your network from the center to the edge. So it makes sense to have, let's say, more of a personalization engine at the edge of your network to make that actually personalization happen.
Yeah.
There you talk about people and the data. It's a nice combination, and it's also making your network more effective. And that is something that we have been investigating for a long time now, and companies like Samsung are also joining in that effort. It's the network-based media processing. Yeah. Basically, you process the data or you process the content where it's actually needed in a network.
Again, I'm a geek, and I think that is probably one of the most exciting technologies to make delivery more efficient. Just why process it back then and send it all the way through the network? Okay, so we've still got a few minutes, and I will ask if there's any questions. This is a great group of people. They've been in this industry a very long time. They all have their hair. Sorry, Ruben. Most of them have their hair. But I'm going to ask one difficult question. So to each of you, we go down the road. We're a big industry. There's lots of technologies and business models and innovative new standard. We had an MPEG-5 presentation a couple of days back, which was fascinating. And I'm going to ask each of you, if there's a technology or trend that you just think is really exciting and you'd urge people to not necessarily do it tomorrow, but at least gain an understanding of it. Remy, what would be the one that you would really urge people to just start to explore now to get ready for the future?
Don't throw me, but cryptocurrency and blockchain, we must look at it. Okay, we are not there yet. Clearly, if you cruise the show floor, you won't see it. But I think that if we want to address a new experience around the content, around the immersivity about the content, about the scarcity about the content, we have to look at it.
Okay, it's a great answer. It's a great answer. Blockchain is a big tent.
It is.
At the heart, it's a ledger that is unique and volatile, and I get that. But are there any specific areas of blockchain where you see real interest or growth?
I see two things. First, micropayment, meaning that, again, we talked about the content experience, okay? We have a digital native population coming, I would say, at age, okay? So now they will have an income. They live forever with TikTok and all that stuff. So watching a content is good, but it's not enough for them. Might be enough for us, but it's not enough for them. So, the ability to do maybe in-content shopping.
Yeah.
That could be a game changer for them.
Yes. It's great. It's hard to follow that. It's hard, isn't it, Javi? It's hard to follow him with that one.
It's a good angle, right? It is a good angle in the sense that, yes, blockchain is here, and we have conversations with customers who have some interesting ideas, right? We talk about sports. One of the concepts is, for example, to create exclusive content that is not being broadcasted, right?
Right.
To engage the audience further and to basically license
premium content
as NFT as well, right? So the special dunk or the special goal or the special action during the game, you can save that, edit it, and only print 200 copies of it, and that creates the scarcity, that creates the model for NFT, that becomes something very interesting. So
is that the one that you're picking? Are you going to join Remy, or is there another one area that you're interested in?
I can talk about many things, right? the one thing I think right now that is happening and where we see a lot of interest is multicast distribution, right? So multicast, everybody knows multicast from IPTV back in the days. It's gaining a lot of traction now, especially with the OTT providers, right? So we start to see the likes of DAZN, right? We work with M2A with DAZN, distributing OTT content over multicast over the operator's network, and that gives a superb quality of experience, right? So for us, it's the beginning of the journey. Again, we talked about the eras at the beginning. It's a new journey of collaboration, and this is very exciting, right? A lot of the OTTs are on board. We're having some really interesting conversations. So stay tuned for more collaboration between OTT and ISPs.
And I cannot see how we can do VR or 8K at scale without multicast. I just don't know how the networks would stand it.
I think it's going back to your point about collaboration. I think you're going to see more companies collaborating together because they have to. And it's one of those things where the industry's moving where you have to collaborate. You have to collaborate with your competitors. You have to look at what your competitors are doing, and they may have a gap within their offering. But then how do you collaborate with them to work together to offer a great solution to the client?
And is there any, just to delve in a tiny bit, are there any particular areas of collaboration that you see as being like, wow, there's a real gap in the market there that companies can partner to fill, or just a little dash more icing on that cake?
I think it's across the board. I mean, you have discussions this week that we've had is how can we take graphics in the cloud and make sure that it's a layer that we're delivered and specialized graphics rendered in the cloud and delivered at the same time as streaming the video, and how is that put together, and ensuring that it's on a per user basis as well. So we can have personalization within for the user, specifically for the user, and how does that collaboration work, and how do we get that data, that information back from the user from using, analytics data and trying to put that together as well.
That's a wonderful answer. Ruben.
Yeah, automotive. For me, automotive is the completion of all the end devices consuming content. And then if I have one use case, because you talked edge, I'm close to the edge. If you're driving a Porsche using 5G, driving 250 miles per hour, there's no edge connect there. I think automotive is for us a very important trend, and it's closing the topic and the chapter in terms of 5G and all the topics we discussed today. I think you mentioned blockchain because you're invested in, but
good point.
No, but automotive for us from a data perspective is an extremely interesting topic.
Simon.
Yes, I would like to stick to collaboration, and collaboration is important because as a tech vendor and as a provider of very smart software, we need the data, and that's where I look at Ruben, and I think that for our end user, for our viewers, we can make the best experience possible with combining all these kind of technologies and make it a better experience. And whether it is on the edge of in your car or whatever, I don't care.
Okay. So, a really diverse set of, went from blockchain through automotive. Yes, not automation. People, processes.
Like
okay, so if there are any questions from the audience, now is a great time. All of our panelists are here at least for one more day before they fly back to their various places. I'd just like to thank them for what was a very open and honest session with a very warm round of applause.